Mr. Rush, I know you have two. I have them on here. And letter L under new business is going to be approve or discuss, approve, disapprove soil borings on 305th. And letter M is gonna be an update to the crack sealing addendums. And then what we are gonna do is letter E in new business. What we're gonna, when we get to that, we're gonna table that. We have more discussions going on. We're not prepared to talk about that at the moment. Do you have anything else, Mr. Rush? Mr. Case, anything?
Under fire department, the Blue Hill.
I don't need a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Moved, is there a second? Moved and seconded, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Treasurer's report.
$51.
Treasurer. Move on to the sheriff's report. Sergeant Wilson. Welcome.
Thank you. For the month of May, we handled 218 calls for service. There were 2 thefts reported, those were both frauds, so nothing taken from the person. Information. 7 motor vehicle accidents, 24 medicals, 45 traffic stops were done. Issues, concerns, questions?
Great evening, stay safe. All righty, public comments. We'll start with the one. First one is Douglas Wark. If you would, please step up to the podium and state your name and address for the record, please.
Stand over here, I'm not tonight. And I don't do this very strong, one who don't know what to say.
There it is.
Well, I got a problem with the beaver dam that this has been going on for over 40 years. And some years real bad, some not quite so bad. And it's causing problems with the groundwater backing up into my well pit, and my sump pump has been running quite a bit. So, what can we do about to fix the problem? I don't know. Yeah.
You are at 10124.
Right on 277, Douglas Wark.
He's just pulling up the.
Okay, so, what I'm gonna suggest that we do, is that we have, our engineer come out and take a look at that. Do you have a problem with him coming across your property?
No, that'd help me a lot. I ain't gonna talk to her, not my problem.
Okay.
My neighbor, I don't want nothing to do with her anymore. She's gonna tell me to, next time she hears I was messing with the dam, she's gonna call the sheriff.
Right, well, and we'll take a look and we'll see if there's something that we can do, because, if that drainage is backing up, that's gonna be a problem for everybody.
Well, yeah.
We're gonna need to do that.
Couple, 2 or 3 years ago, Baldwin was having some of their own people out there trying to unplug that when it was upstream farther, you know.
I will, we will talk to Sam, our engineer.
You know, you mess with them, then they just keep on moving a little farther away the next time.
Exactly, and we'll see, cause, we've had some trouble over here on 305th too with, beavers and beaver dams and those kind of things as well, so.
Well, they come right underneath County Road 19 and right around past my garden and out into our creek and swamp.
So there, do you want public works to take pictures and send them, or is it, or Sam prior? or just
Yeah,
have
we
them-
can, so, yeah, tomorrow morning we'll send out Public Works to take a look at that, take some pictures so we can send them to our engineer so that we can see what we can do. Then we'll come up with a plan from there.
You could get quite a big picture of it. You had the DNR take a picture, go fly over and take a picture, how big it's getting to be now. Yeah. All right, well,
Yes.
Would this beaver dam have a name on the city road? Give us
It's,
jurisdiction to
it-
look at it?
it's possible, actually, it's gonna be the drainage that's gonna be through there.
It was put in there years ago for drainage, I was assuming, you know, if it's backing up now, then I don't think that was its purpose.
What year did you say it was dug, in 1930?
what?
The county dug it in 1930s?
That's what Lester Kegel told me, probably that ditch was put in there back in
Buster told you, yeah.
the 30s, yeah.
That's all it is.
That guy knows everything.
He does.
And the property we were having a problem with, they bought that from my wife's older brother. And they moved off there in '86, and now she moved on there. Problem since.
It's gonna be
Otherwise,
County
it
Road
might be
19,
his
it could be
problem.
100 Street.
Have you been in contact with the DNR county?
Well, I've talked to so many different people. I've talked to the hydrologist and talked to DNR and I even tried to talk to somebody up, Grand Rapids or whatever it is, that 28, the DNR up there. That's not our problem. You gotta talk to somebody.
All right.
Talk to somebody in St. Paul at the DNR office too.
So at this point in time, we'll dig into it, we'll find
Okay.
out, we'll see what we can do about it. and
Good.
We're here to help if we can,
Thank you very much.
absolutely.
Thanks for coming.
All righty, the next one is Mark Mason, Mr. Mason. Would you give your name and address for the record, please?
Yeah, it's Mark Mason, 30209 116th Street. So I applied for a permit to put a small sign out at the intersection of 116th and County Road 38. We've got a lot of elderly people coming to us. They're having a hard time finding us. So just asking that you guys could vote on whether we could put a sign out there. I'm not looking to put a billboard, just a smaller sign, a directional type sign. We've talked to the highway department. I offered to pay for redoing the Baldwin Park sign. There's just a little bit of a shortage there for us to have a sign on the highway. We spoke with Sherburne County. They were in agreement. They would let us have a sign. When the highway said that we were a few feet short for the allowance, then Sherburne said, oh, you gotta go back to Baldwin and talk to them. So decided to come in and ask you guys if you could approve or deny my permit. I know there's an issue with the ordinance for an off-site sign. There's not that many commercial businesses in the woods in Baldwin like we are, so. That's where I'm
Yeah,
at.
just some background on that. Actually, our ordinance does say that we cannot have off-premises signs for businesses. And if we think about, where this is gonna go, cause you're talking on County Road 2 and 116th.
38 and 116.
38 and 116. Okay, so, in order for that to happen, there's a few things that are gonna, it can't be in the road right away, so it's gonna need to be on private property.
Yep, and I have agreement with both residences for that, yeah.
Okay. So, and what we're talking about doing is we're talking about revamping our ordinance to allow this. And if you can hold on, let's see if we can't change our ordinance first. And then
Sure.
you don't have to jump through any hoops, if you will.
Yeah,
So I think Dan has this ordinance now. I don't know if the planning commission will have to take a look at it. I would
Yeah.
assume they would. It'd be a
Probably
change
would,
of the
yes.
ordinance.
If they're changing the zoning ordinance to allow change that language. Once they amend the ordinance and it's published, it becomes law, and then we should be able, depending on the language change.
That works for you, that's.
It's fine with me.
Trajectory we want to be on.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You bet. Have a great evening. This one, all right, the next one is, yes. Okay, yeah, no problem. Norm Benke. Welcome, Norm. Please step up to the podium and state your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. It's Norm Benke, 28123 Lake Diane Road, in Baldwin Township. And I'm here to ask about the current state of enforcement with regard to the animal control ordinance. I spoke at the late October meeting back before Baldwin became a city because I was having a lot of loose dog issues. And the situation has improved. There were a couple minor incidents, but there was a more significant episode last Wednesday when it was about 5 p.m. and the dogs, like 3 doors down, started barking pretty much continuously. And this went on till about 7 p.m. and I'm pretty sure there was a violation of the dog barking ordinance, but I didn't actually record the barking to be absolutely sure of the timing. And so about 7 p.m., I called non-emergency dispatch. And I said, okay, do your deputies respond to dog barking complaints? And she said, yes. And at that point, I didn't really see a squad go by. But about 20 after 7, one of the brown Rottweilers from the house in question came into my yard, stopped and looked at me. It didn't show any aggression towards me, but it continued through my yard, went to the neighbor's yard, and then eventually came back and went home. So at this point, I called non-emergency dispatch again. I said, okay, the situation has escalated, there's a loose dog. And about 10 minutes later, a deputy did go by, and I'm assuming he went down to the dog owner's residence. Whether or not he actually talked to the dog owner, I'm not sure because I didn't talk to the deputy. Anyway, later that evening, I sent an email to Sheriff Broad and to the city of Baldwin, kind of giving all the details about it. And so on Thursday, I talked to Kyle, had a long conversation about the state of enforcement in Baldwin right now. He said they were happy to respond to complaints such as mine, but they have no enforcement authority as far as writing citations. And he also said that there is a meeting coming up on June 12th between Baldwin city officials and Sherburne County officials to discuss enforcement, and hopefully the animal control ordinance would be part of that. And on the other side of the coin, as far as the email being copied to Baldwin, I did speak to Joan about it and learned that she talked to you and you requested Dan give me a call. And Dan did actually call me Friday morning, but my phone was off. So I tried calling him a couple times on Friday and once today, and we weren't able to connect. So basically I have 2 questions. What is the current state of enforcement for the animal control ordinance? And what do Baldwin city officials hope to accomplish with the meeting with Sherburne County officials as far as enforcement in the future?
We are going to meet with them on the 12th. You're very informed. You have about as much as we do at this point. I will be very honest with you and say that I thought we had this all taken care of. Our attorneys thought we had this whole situation taken care of, and that the Sherburne County was gonna do the law enforcement we thought that you were talking about for us. So this is part of what that meeting is. And so what do we hope to get out of that? I hope to get everything settled and established. If there are ordinances and things like that that are not recorded in Sherburne County's law library like they need to be, then we want to met that out as well, right? So that we are all on the same page here and we have an understanding once the sheriff is called, what are they gonna do for us?
Right.
So, at this point in time, I think they did, I don't know that much would change from what they did for you already by sending an officer out to find out, you know what I mean? But if we do have long-term things, so if this would be, and maybe I can have Bob elaborate a little bit on this too, civil versus,
Yeah, here's where we're at. There is evidently, according to the deputies who've come to these meetings, there is some confusion by the deputies about what authority they have to cite people under a city ordinance versus a state law.
Okay,
Speeding tickets, a state law, they feel comfortable in writing out a citation.
okay,
We also, city's belief is you as our law enforcement, you have a contract or not, you've agreed to be our law enforcement as a city. And they have the authority to issue citations because any of the ordinances that we have drafted and approved as a city council and published and made them a law, a violation of the ordinances like the dog is a misdemeanor. It's a criminal act. They can cite on that.
okay,
The question that has been raised consistently by the various deputies that have appeared before the city council, we believe that they have that authority. We are having a meeting on Thursday to try to get to the bottom of where this disconnect is so that we have some assurances going forward that if we have a no parking ordinance, somebody's blocking your driveway, and we have a no parking ordinance, that they can cite that person. Then the next question, once we get that portion of the meeting taken care of with the sheriff's deputies, and my understanding is the sheriff has invited a number of deputies to attend this meeting, so that at the end of the meeting, we're hopeful that everybody is on the same page. Next, the next question on the enforcement side of it, which is where I think the mayor was going to this, is who is going to enforce the ordinance? Once the citation has been issued, is that something that the county attorney's office will do? Is that something the county is looking at the city and maybe my office to do? That is an issue that also needs to be resolved. Right now, we have an agreement where the county attorney to do prosecution, yet it's not clear that they are doing all of the prosecution. So again, some of this is why this meeting was called, why it's going to be with the sheriff, the county attorney herself, and the representative parties, including a number of the deputies. We're hoping to get all of this clarified, who's doing what, so that when an issue like yours comes to the forefront in the future, we have solid understanding as to who's going to handle it in what fashion and who would ultimately be responsible if it had to go to court.
okay. The person I talked to was Kyle, so I think he's above deputy level. I don't think I don't know if he's a sergeant or what, I didn't actually record it.
was it Wilson, Kyle Wilson? He was just
Oh,
here.
okay, yeah. So in any event, this is gonna have to come from the top because, you know, he's higher than the deputies and his understanding is that they're not writing citations. So this is definitely gonna have to come from Sheriff Brott as a change in process, a change in mindset, whatever. So obviously the deputies have to be on board, but this is gonna have to come from the leadership of the Sherburne County Sheriff as well.
Yes, sir, that is why we called for this meeting, and that is why we're meeting in his office.
Is gonna be at this meeting.
He's
Okay.
organizing the meeting.
Okay,
And we've also invited the county attorney herself to be there, and we've moved the date so that she can attend, so that this whole, everybody, all the pertinent parties in the room can have their say, and we work this out. So hopefully, when this meeting is over, we have a clear demarcation of who is doing what. And then, based on that, we implement.
okay. One kind of caveat that I'd like to add is, there's been a couple instances where I've called for deputy assistance on dog issues. One was when I was bit when I was out walking, and the deputy was hesitant to write the citation, but he said he could write the citation with myself as the complainant. So that was done on a couple instances where It wasn't the sheriff's deputy that was the complainant. I was the complainant, and I have no issue with that. I mean, whenever I ask for a sheriff deputy visit, I'm absolutely sure of the ordinance violation, and I'm absolutely sure who did it. It's not some like vague complaint on my part. So, that's kind of a sidebar, whether you want to bring that in about citizens having the right to be the complainant, that's kind of a sidebar.
That's a sidebar. I need to get them committed to even coming to your property and issuing that citation.
Right.
I can get them to come and issue citation where appropriate. I think we've accomplished what we need to with the sheriff. Now, then I also have to have a similar discussion with the county attorney's office. Once that citation that you're looking for is issued, how does that get processed and by whom? And that's what this meeting is. There's 2 steps to this.
Right, okay, that sounds good. Thanks for your time.
All right, and lastly, we have Christy Miller. Christy, if you would please step up to the podium, and you know the drill. State your name and address.
Christy Miller, 14235, 285th Avenue Northwest. I just wanted to make you all aware that I got an email saying they're going to do the curbing and starting on Wednesday, and that a letter had been mailed, but nobody's received a letter yet. And for me, it's not a big deal because my driveway, our garage is across the street, but they can't drive on their driveway, and I'm thinking Herkman's, the one just to the west of me, and she's an elderly lady, they drive on their driveway all the time and park in there, that they don't even know this is going on.
Yeah, so I spoke to Sam, the engineer, last week, and he said he was gonna take care of all the communication, because I asked that question. Projects that we got approved last meeting.
Got the email stating that too.
Right.
Saying that no one's gotten.
The other residents didn't get.
Well, and he said he mailed it out, because I talked to him. But when? If he didn't mail it till Friday, when are we gonna get it? Snail mail.
Wednesday morning. I thank you for still laughing.
Well, you know what? I'm not flooding out anymore. My boathouse isn't flooding. Happy.
It'll get even better. So, well, then let's make sure that we get a hold of Sam here now tomorrow morning. Nobody around there got any notes. Berkman, do you know the address by chance?
No, right next to me on the lakeside, because I'm 14235, so.
Make sure that he gets a hold of them to let her know that,
I will try to let them know, but
yeah, we'll do our best to get him on it as well.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. All right, are there any more public requests, Joan? Public comment portion. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Complete, is there a second? Second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. All righty, fire department, discuss, approve, disapprove Blue Hill Fire contract. Mr. Case, you want to?
I'd like to table it. It's not complete.
Talk about if you could,
Okay, then let's bring that to the next meeting. It is approved now, at least it's approved at this point, but let's, if we We have more discussion to happen, let's have that.
There are some things that we're missing or something. Maybe you could communicate that with me or with Mark in my office. That way we could have that ready. If there is something missing, either we address your concerns this week or we have the language already to go. That would be better, I think. Okay. Otherwise it'd just be delayed because we'd have to make the change.
Okay, so this is did you make a motion to table this until the 23rd?
Yeah.
Okay, is there a second? Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Mr. Fisher, I'll get right to you in just a second. Discuss, approve, disapprove EMT funding for training.
So we are, yes, we have 6 firefighters that are going to take the EMT class, and we would like approval for funding. It's $1,900 per firefighter, and we are going to increase our medical response. We're going to have the medical director from North Ambulance Service, he's an ER physician, and he's going to come up and speak to our officers. We want to just increase our scope in our first response to start doing blood sugars and things like that, maybe administering EpiPen for anaphylactic reactions. They now have a new nasal epinephrine out, which is much easier to administrate, and it's cheaper than the EpiPens. And
So this is EMT training?
yes,
So
six
this-
firefighters at $1,900 apiece.
How long is the training?
I think it's 100 and,
It's 160 hours. It's initially, the initial program online. The fire department will do the refreshers in-house, but it is online for all but the hands-on, which is I believe 16 hours over a weekend.
yeah, 2 weekends of 8, I
I
think.
think they have about 6 weeks to complete the online portion, and then they do the other part.
And then once they're all approved and certified as EMTs, mentioned a refresher course, what is the upkeep going to be on?
The upkeep is just a little bit higher than what we pay for the EMR, and it's individually for them, so we do, our training, we do 8 hours every year, which is a total of 16 to get to the EMR. The EMT is 24 hours.
Right, and the cost is, and then they don't have to do the EMR training. You either do either or. So if you're an EMT, your training automatically qualifies you above a first responder.
Motion and second. Okay, it is $11,400. That is 6 people times $1,900.
Correct. And then,
So now the question is, gentlemen, where do you want that money to come from? Fire budget? I mean, do you have the dollars in the fire budget, or should we think about taking it from the
So don't we have about, how much money's left from the, public safety dollars from the fines the previous we collected? That'd be a good place to pull it from.
That would be a good idea, let's find that. Let's do that, and if not that, whatever that, if there's not enough in
Friendly
there.
to the,
Hang on. First of all, it'll come from the safety money. And if the safety money then falls short, then it'll come from the fire budget. Accept that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
one additional training approval that we need because it goes over the limit. We have 4 firefighters that are going to take the FAO class, which is basically a pump operations class. So they have training above, most of the firefighters in running our engines and pumping water at scene. I mean, we deliver water, that's how we put fires out. And so this is a very specialized training, and that's $600 per firefighter. And you just take that once a year, there's no updated training or anything like that. We do that. Correct. $2,400.
Okay, is that, I'm just out of curiosity, you say the pumps in our trucks, so they come here, the instructors will come here and teach our guys on our trucks?
The FAO instructor from Elk River Fire is gonna come up and teach right here. We're having a joint class with Zimmerman, I think, and
And I think
I
Prince,
think maybe Princeton,
Princeton
but I
may send
know
a couple.
Zimmerman for sure is gonna have some there. And basically, it's all pumping operations and aerial operations, since we have the ladder, we wanted to make sure that we have some advanced, people. I think
And Mayor
there's
Swan?
3 people that are FAO right now.
right, and usually what they'll do when they come to, even if it was at the Zimmerman station, what they'll do is have our firefighters bring our engine down for a night or two to use, pump on our engine and stuff like that. That's usually how they do it. Yes, yep. So everyone that's in the class will get to train on their own apparatus.
Second, what I would like them, that one come from training.
Yeah, and that's where I thought that it would come from.
Excellent, all right. A motion to second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Excellent.
Couple more things, our prior month's calls, we had 42 calls, 32 medicals, 2 vehicle fires, 2 structure fires, 2 mutual aid calls, 3 hazardous conditions calls, which can be alarms, CO alarms, things like that. 1 grass fire, 1 rescue or citizen assist. We had 7 calls into Blue Hill. Duty officer does not have any calls anymore as we've taken that out and we've gone back to responding to all medicals. We also have 2 firefighters that are going to be taking up to 6 months medical leave for health issues, and I anticipate both of them to be able to come back full duty, but they're just going to need some recovery time.
That is C and D, chief? Okay. Have those up next on our agenda too.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, oh, yep, I will. I'll bring it back tomorrow. All right, thank you.
Letter C, leave of absence. Second, name?
We got Jay Johnson.
Okay, motion second for Jay Johnson. 6-month leave of absence, correct?
Yeah, up to 6 months.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Letter D, leave of absence.
Christopher Decker.
Second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. I do have one question, actually, for the fire department before we get out of this. Is Tom's ladder truck in service?
We are waiting on it. Just a note, and I should have on agenda, but we received a $10,000 grant through the Bank Elk River for equipment for that. Had to get approval to order the equipment, which I got this week. We're in the process of getting that equipment in. If we needed to use the ladder, we could go on a call with it. I'm hesitant to put it in full service till July 1st when we get the majority of that equipment on the rig. So, and my anticipation is July 1st that rig will be in service and responding to calls.
Anything else on the fire?
There's always stuff with the fire department, but.
Okay, we are gonna start with, the planning items then. Discuss, approve, disapprove, no parking on 139th Street. We got a request from, I think this is the first one, correct, Joan? We got a request, thank you for your email, city staff will review the issue and get back to you. It appears that 139th Street is privately maintained by agreement, but still exists as a private or public right-of-way. If we confirm this, it would be possible for the city council to consider establishing no parking zones due to the narrow roadway width. Bob, do you know anything about this?
No, and if it's a private road, we have no jurisdiction.
So at this point in time, can I pass this on to you? We can table this for till the 23rd meeting, give you a chance to look into this and find out if it is a private road.
Yes, I would like to do that. If it is a private road, then I would suggest that the next city council meeting, you authorize me to send a letter explaining that to.
So you'll dig into that for us. So I need a motion to table this until.
Second.
Motion and second.
I came to Paul, I kind of told him the same thing. You know, handle private road, but. I was trying to do that.
All right, motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. All right, discuss code enforcements. Let's see here. Citations, Demiano, failure to remove shipping container by June 1. Stuve is gonna be failure to abate junk debris dog violations. Roxroth or RV trailer is a dwelling unit. Those are the citations that have been, city staff is requesting council to approval for the following actions based on the attached summary. Administrative, I'm gonna do all of these and then we'll go back. Administrative notices to Stag Setter for junk and debris. Administrative notice to Carrie for junk and debris. First contact letter to Egg Inc. for dogs at large. First contact letter to Michael, might be Mikkel, potential farm-related retail business requiring a CUP. Right-of-way obstructions, send second citation to 14307 286th Avenue. 290th Avenue. What are the wishes of the council? So start with the citations. So they're asking the actions based on the attached summary. Approve the following actions. This would be a citation. Send it to Damiano.
In regards to that one, I don't have verification of this, but it's been brought to my attention that, they have a building permit for a bathroom remodel what they're doing there. That was the basement. Potentially a new permit out for a bathroom.
So what I would
Word on
say.
the street is, so I would, motion to table that one until the next meeting until.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Next one is gonna be Stu, failure to abate junk and debris and dog violations.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Next one is gonna be Roxroth. RV trailer is a dwelling unit.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Administrative notices, Stag Setter, for junk and debris.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Carrie, for more junk and debris.
I'll make a motion to send out the notice.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. First contact letter for Egg Inc., dogs at large. This is the first
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Next, Michael is, the next one is Michael, potential farm-related, retail business requiring a CUP. I do not have background on that, but it would be interesting. We need to know what's going on there, so this is just the first contact.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there email I can find?
Yeah.
Motion and
I
second.
don't remember seeing that one. How long ago did it come out?
I saw the letter today when I looked at my email, so it's on there.
I sent it,
It's just the first contact letter, so it's not.
No, just asking what's going on.
I can find it too.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? None, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Scott made a motion, Mr. Rush.
Aye.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose the same sign. Motion carries. Right-of-way obstruction, send second citation, 14307, 286th Avenue.
I'll make a motion to send a citation. I'll second.
Motion to second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose the same sign. Motion carries. Last one, send second citation to 14052, 290th Avenue.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, is there a second? Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose the same sign. Motion carries.
There's one more that came in today. I don't know if
Came
you-
in today
Yeah, that I think,
from Dan, from Mr. Licht? Or just came in as a,
it came in as draining a wetland. Possible racetrack, all mud. This was,
I want to have Mr. Licht take a look at this and put it in the proper direction. This was just what we were given today. June 9th.
Mr. Mayor, a question. Being that they are not finable things, administrative notice and the first contact letters, do we need to do those separately or can we do those?
Mr. Ruby?
Refer to staff on that type of thing. You don't have to have a separate motion for each of those. You can delegate that to code enforcement, to your staff. Dan Licht can authorize, then if you did that, Dan Licht would just take care of that and give you a report. If you decide in the future that you don't like how Dan is handling it, of course, you can always take away that delegation.
I think we're tying up a lot of time doing each one individually. The
That's
site,
10 minutes, and there's no question about what we did tonight. None whatsoever.
the citations, they're monetary. That I get.
That was easy. No, okay. Tom, I think, let's have Dan take a look at this.
Okay.
And then send us back what
okay.
What it is.
Did Joan this?
see what is that.
Mayor, about the agricultural one.
Found the email?
Huh?
Did you find the email?
No, but I saw the address or whatever, on the packet or whatever. And that property, that is the 114th is that, it was in the, Aspen Pond subdivision where it was just a, right of way to the adjacent property to the north that was vacant when the development went in. And the parents bought the 40 and then one of the children bought the remaining part of that 40 and him and his wife got cows out there. And so there's people going and buying. I just want you to know, but
Mr. Mayor, just
it'd be like going to come and buying eggs at my house
Yeah.
or maybe a gallon.
added,
We all gonna get CUPs now?
added to this, Joan, that was the place you had me drive by because the complaint that came in was they were doing horse shows and things out on that property. and they're getting a ton of traffic, and it is not roads that should have tons of traffic. So it's up, take a right, and it's a cul-de-sac,
What out there?
horse shows and things.
Horse shows?
Like, you know, where you do the barrels and things like that, that's, you know, and you obviously,
Sanctioned shows, or sanctioned shows, or just a bunch of friends getting together?
Club kind of stuff.
it's just increased traffic, it just added that, if they're getting that kind of traffic, that was a complaint from somebody on that road, that tons of traffic are coming by to that, for that, so.
It's unfortunate, they should have bought property on the county road, and nobody was saying a thing about it, but they're driving.
But yeah, it is, you have to go up, you have to hang a right, and then go down to the end of the cul-de-sac to get onto those properties.
Property is called Sweet Highland Ranch. This weekend, Sweet Highland Ranch had a grand opening event on the property for a farm store and a food trailer. This was also the first annual homestead and artisan market. The resident would like to know what their license allows them to do on the property and is concerned that herself and other neighbors were not informed about the store opening. They are also concerned about the increased traffic on this road. Resident is, names, please let her know. Well, if nothing else, then we need to at least look into it,
The
find out
letter sent out.
any reason for us. Okay, ready to move on? Discuss amending the zoning ordinance for allow off-premises signs. Currently, this says that we cannot have off-premises signs. That's fire chief Foreman. I don't have the ordinance in front of me. But what I'd like to try and do, does anybody at the table have a problem with him if he can work it out with the landowner that'll let him put a sign on his place? This particular case on County Road 2 and County Road 38 and 116th, you know what I mean, to advertise his business. I think our ordinance should be rewritten to at least allow something like that.
Here's the issues on that. Yes, you can amend your ordinance. If you amend your ordinance, it applies to everybody, and you can't, say, yes, we're okay with yours, but we're not okay with yours. It has to be applied consistently and equally across the whole city. If you are granting a variance from your zoning ordinance, that's what, I'm assuming that's the next thing on Dan's thing here. He says it's either a change in the ordinance, the zoning ordinance, to allow off-premises signs, which is what, Mr. Mayor, you were alluding to, or do you apply for a variance for this off-premises sign, which would be looked at on a case-by-case basis. It would not be a change in the ordinance, though. And then the next question is, for this gentleman, let's assume you are interested in amending, are you authority, which you have the right to initiate, or are you looking at it as this property owner is seeking the amendment? Then they'd have to pay the fee.
Me personally, I like the case by case.
I would also agree that we do a variance rather than doing the blanket, because then we could get some unintended consequences to it. Have little signs all over the place.
Is this gentleman still here?
No, he's not.
Okay, so here I'd ask him, what about one of the blue signs that you could possibly do through the county that's in the right of way, indicating that, you know, it's up ahead, turn ahead, you know, on the roadside.
Yeah, that was part of what he'd asked for of the state, and they said no because we have young park. So they wouldn't allow.
Well, how about one on 38 through the county,
No, maybe
just prior?
the county told him that they would be okay with that.
I mean, it sounds to me like he's more concerned about wayfinding than he is about. I would think it's an issue about people finding the place more than advertising, because the sign ain't gonna generate that. You know, much do business, but I think it's a matter of, oh yeah, turn here, you know.
So then, Bob, let me ask this then, if our ordinance does not address it, then would, if he was able to talk to the county and the county said, yes, you could put up a sign like that, attached to a stop sign or some other sign, a sign in the road right away as it is, like other signs are, would we have any jurisdiction over that at all?
Argue that even though it's within the county road right of way, if the county was okay with putting it in the road right of way, we would argue it's still a violation of our zoning ordinance not to allow that. And the question is, I guess, you know, usually an off-premises sign is looked at as advertising the business. It's not, your sign isn't on your property saying, you know, Bob's Machine Shop, it's someplace else off my property. That's what, whether how big it is, it's called off-premises signs, it's considered like a billboard. You guys, as a city, have said no to off-premises signs. What Dan is saying under, in his memo to you, your packet, is it could be done either by a text amendment, where you allow for these types of signs. If we're gonna do that, I would have a hard time, we'd have to trying to say that that off-premises sign is directional only. How do you do that?
Well, the sign I'm indicating, like in the right of way, it's just a blue sign with white lettering, no logo, and just, you know, the name of the business, an arrow, and then 0.4 miles, you know, once you turn that corner.
But would that be, it would still be violating our ordinance, right?
I don't think.
Depends on how you interpret your ordinance. I guess you could interpret your ordinance that if the county would allow it, you would allow, quote, directional signs. Or we make an amendment to your ordinance to specifically allow it, and it's not to exceed a certain size, has to be a certain color, and it can't have more information than, you know, the name of the business, a directional sign, and like, you have to be very specific.
You-
Because if you left it open, people would have the right to do that.
Doing the variance, what do we need to do if we did the allowed variances on
If
it?
you were gonna allow the variance, it would, either way, you still would have to have a text amendment. You'd have to have a public hearing before the planning commission. Planning commission would make a recommendation to you as a city council. You as a city council would then decide what you're gonna do. That's a text amendment to your zoning ordinance, changing the language, or a variance. One thing to consider with the variance is that you can put conditions on the variance. Say, we will allow this sign, but if the property, you know, ceases, this sign, you know, goes away, or it can't be more than this, you can you have a little bit more flexibility when you give a variance, because you can say, yes, from our strict compliance with our zoning ordinance, we are allowing you to have this. However, you must comply with these conditions.
Good question. So my understanding, the state told them no, of 169. The county told them yes, but then they heard the state said no. So the county told them no as well. Is that correct?
No, the county told them they needed to talk to Baldwin.
Okay.
In my opinion, I think the little blue sign that you could, and like you said, write it up real tight, it's X by X, font size this, these two colors, blue, white, name, arrow, distance from the turn. And then, you know, and that, you know, like the signs we did, I'm sure with the county, it's probably gonna be a large amount up front, but then it's, you know, grandfathered from there on.
I don't disagree at all with having some way to control it, if you will.
On case-by-case scenario.
The other issue always when you're dealing with signs is anytime you start telling people what you can have on the face of the sign, there's always an argument of any sort of First Amendment, speech rights, things like that.
And along with that, check me if I'm wrong, or at least tell me. So if he has a landowner that says, yes, you can put your sign up. Right now, that's the only way that he would be able to do it. Then do we still have teeth? Do we take precedence over that? Say, no, you can't. You can't do in your yard what you want to do?
Right.
So can we take and force Princeton to move that sign out of Baldwin?
Says welcome to Princeton on 169, and it's way south of Princeton.
Yeah, arguably. I mean, if we wanted to create kind of a havoc, yes.
Are you ready to swing the bat some more, I'm
Yeah.
asking, is what I'm saying?
I'm just saying, I mean, if it's technical, that they would move that, they should move that sign into their jurisdiction, then they have control. But it is technically a violation, it's an off-premises sign advertising something that's not on that premises. So, I don't have the zoning ordinance in front of me, but it would make it an off-premises sign.
Yeah, it's out of the road right away, but it's definitely.
Mr. Business owner, if he's got good, or he could just get himself an old truck and
Park it there for a
side,
while.
park it there with his name on there, problem over.
I personally like the variance thing, it gives us more control long-term, and especially if the business changes owners or does a different type of, whatever. I like that, and I don't know what we have to do to.
I agree with you.
There is usually a application fee for a variance. You guys, as the city council, waive that if you want, it's up to you guys, how you'd like to approach this. Either way, if you get a text amendment or a variance, they're still the same process. There's not one that can be streamlined.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, we wouldn't have to change anything in the ordinance, we can just create the variance, he can apply for the variance. So that's what we
And the
tell him what to
question
do.
is, would you require him to pay the application fee, or would you waive that? I don't know if he, when he left here today, thought he was gonna have to pay anything for this. That's up to you guys.
I think it would be handled as a normal variance, otherwise it wouldn't be correct.
He would be applying to city for a variance to allow for an off-premises sign, and that's what Dan has as option number one.
I have this as discuss amending the zoning ordinance, but I think we would need a motion to let Dan move forward.
Direct the property owner and the zoning administrator to work towards a
Elaborate on the variance.
variance for this.
Is that a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion is second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Joan, I believe that is it on the planning items, correct?
Would you talk to Dan about this?
Which one you want, this one? Okay, park report, Mr. Rush, discuss, approve, disapprove Goose Lake and Young Park request for proposal.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, we met last month, and this was one of the main goals by every park board member to expand the parking lot at Young Park. Maps up there to go more towards the, where it's gravel up there for Young Park, because when we have Fun Fest, it's becoming bigger, and the parking even in baseball, softball, the games and practices, they're getting overwhelmed. So just getting a quote for that, and then we might have to add an additional light or two there on that 149.5 there to keep it in line with the existing lights there as well. And then for Goose Lake Park, that's just gravel there, and that was a 10 to 12, originally a 10 to 12 parking spaces there. So I thought the park committee thought we would do better scales of economy by getting 2 quotes for that. That will come in at that, so.
RFP, so you want to request them, what are the wishes?
I'll make, oh, Al, you were there too.
Yeah, I think.
Did I miss anything?
Yeah,
I got everything, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Motion is second, any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Discuss approve, disapprove park ordinance 2025.
Is this one? So, yeah, so we went through the, regulations, cause, it's been a while since we did this, and since we're the city now, we updated stuff. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at it, we just updated everything where it said, township to the city of Baldwin. And then we also, other things, this updated the commercial use, to, on letter page 6 for the, rental of the pavilion. And then we also possess, they won't use fireworks within the park because that's a timber box over there, pretty much. On that, and then, I think on letter 7, there should be unlawful to camp in any city park. We had that once before. And then I think the only other thing was it the biggest one was the, we just put the rental fees there on page 11. Spell that out, $100, $75, $125. That's pretty much it. Just a few other minor changes. And then the public works, of course, so they know that rental fee is not guaranteed. Like if they just left it all trash, our maintenance guys, we're gonna keep that deposit. So we just spell that out in there. That's it. I'll make a motion to approve it.
There's a motion, is there a second? Second to approve. Any further discussion? None, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Discuss the DNR grant.
Yeah, so this one, found out we had some more detail on this to do with this DNR grant. So right now, we hired HR Green originally, $4,500 we got invested. There was some things that we needed to do. So we approved a wetland delineation for this project because the last one expired. They're good for 5 years. So we approved that for $5,700. Nothing has been done at this time. We found out now that we have to do, if we continue doing it with the DNR, we have to do a CADX, which is another $10,000. And then let's just say the project costs is this, I'll just throw a number. I think it was 131, but say you did it for 50,000, you get 25% of that, so you got paid 12,500. Just throwing a number out there. So to me, this is adding up. So if we do the wetland, which we're going to need anyways, which was approved, that's good for 5 years. There's also some work that might be done since the DNR goes, well, geez, why did you pull out of our grant? And they start, let's just say snoop around. There's an additional up to $1,500 to $2,000 to do a determination there's no lost. So that would be another $1,500 to $2,000. And that will be it. So my main, and John is here. If you have any questions, he was at Blue Hill tonight. But about the DNR, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I just think there's so many hoops going through this grant. To get this, we have 2 years, so we're at about 15th, 16th month into it. So I got to give an update like, hey, have you started this project? What are your costs so far, et cetera. So at this point, I just wanted to bring this up to you guys. Is it worth doing a DNR grant, or we just do the wetland, which was approved, and just get the additional, no loss determination of $1,500, or and then just go up to bid. We had a bid one time, it was a year and a half ago, but I'm sure things have changed. So that's,
I was just gonna say is, in net dollars, if we get the DNR grant, how much would it benefit us versus not getting DNR grant?
well, it depends how much you're doing. There's hoops. I mean, like you already, now you gotta spend another $10,000 for CADX.
Right.
So it's adding up.
So we have to do those hoops anyway, right? The 10,000, we have to do it.
Yes, if you wanna go through that. And there might be more hidden stuff that, the DNR grant person retired, so there's a new gal, and she's the one who told us this. And of course, HR Green said, you're pretty much 98% done with this. Well, we're not.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out in my mind whether it's worthwhile to pursue it because we're jumping through a bunch of paperwork.
That's what I was bringing this
Red
up.
tape hoops versus just, if there's something that we really want to do, should we just go ahead and do it on our own?
Yeah, and I think if there's more to stuff that you want, that needs to be done at Young Park, maybe the DNR grant would be beneficial, but I really don't think there's, for this, I mean, we already got the boardwalks. This is just replacing all the crushed granite out there, the existing trails, and then adding another mile. And then we're trying to see if we can maybe propose moving that trail so it's out of the wetlands. Now, I've been in contact with John. He hasn't started nothing on this because I wanted to bring this to your attention tonight. Do you have anything to add, sir? If Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Morris, welcome. I didn't know we were gonna have you here.
I didn't.
I never turn down an opportunity to talk.
I know. Keep it short.
Yeah, absolutely. The wetland delineation, what that does is it gives the wetland delineation for the entire park. You might need it for the parking lot expansion, depending on where those wetlands are, located. And what it does is we will show the wetland boundaries, we will show the trails, and we will make tweaks to the trail alignment to make sure that they, if we can, to try to get them out of wetlands if they're immediately adjacent or if they touch a wetland. I mean, that's kind of the bottom line. And we will do that, and I think my recommendation would be to do that no loss determination, because that just gets that report, that wetland delineation report back to the DNR. They're not saying, why did they pull out, and things like that. So that's, I think it's safer to do that as part of the package, as opposed to having the DNR snoop around and say, hey, where's this trail, where's that trail?
So basically, Mr. Mayor, if we spend an additional $1,500 to $2,000, we already approved $5,700, and then go up for bid on this project and get that done. Instead of like what Scott said.
You're talking about the parking lot project.
No, just talking about the trail itself, this DNR grant. I was just thinking this, like Scott says, it's becoming too much money to go through these hoops because HR Green.
We got two conversations going on here. One is, do we do the project? The other one is, do we do the DNR? For what we've already approved for the wetland delineation, we're pretty assured we're gonna come with a no loss statement throughout all of that. So that satisfies the DNR, so that we're not getting egg on our face, or if you will, or putting us in a bad spot with DNR. Thanks, but no thanks is what we're telling them at this point.
Yes.
Clarification,
Yes.
we're gonna tighten the project up to make sure that it is no loss then.
Looking at the trails and.
Like, you talk about additional trails, and some of them are gonna come in some questionable areas.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about, touching up the existing and then possibly doing additional, the additional is gonna need to be in some unquestionable area.
Yeah, there's one little spur, I think you probably wanna put that off, and just, the reason you need to go to the DNR is because technically, where the mow when you're putting crushed granite on grass, that's technically a fill. And if we do that, that's not within the wetland boundaries, then you can do it. But once you start doing a new trail or some fill in the wetlands, then you need to go through some more hoops. And
So everything for the scope of this project will be in non-wetland, non-controversial.
It appears from.
And so then after the grant is over and everything has been cleared and everything, then Andy Dufresne comes along and kicks out some pebbles out his pant leg over in the questionable corner.
But with, so if we don't do the grant, which I'm on board with, but if we're gonna do this trails, then we just need, that's gonna be besides the 5,700 we already approved, it's gonna be additional $1,500 up to 2,000 to do this no loss thing. That's what I was trying to.
What are the wishes of the council?
On the grant, we have what, the 25% match?
Correct.
Do these expenses of the CADX count toward, no?
No.
That doesn't count towards it.
No, I
Only
specifically asked that question.
core project.
Yes.
Okay.
And so how it's explained to me is the CADX, the category exclusion is needed for the grant application contract to be signed, and the DNR will not reimburse for work prior to that contract being signed.
I'll make a motion to approve the up to $2,000 for their no loss.
I'll second that.
Motion. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
No, and I will just tell the DNR that we're gonna.
All right, cemetery.
I wish you get like a public statement out there that the hoops and the red tape are just too much, too cost prohibitive to even get.
Yeah.
And that's a shame that they do this.
Especially in something, because that, even when we think about the maintenance of this, if our wetland delineation, regardless of who does it, how it got there, whatever, is only good for 5 years. When we go out there and we want to spruce up the trails, let's say, add more crushed granite to existing trails, we're gonna have to do this again anyway. Okay, I like the way you think. Yeah, that's no enough.
If you do that in 4 months and 4 years and 11 months, you'll have another 5 years.
All right, but so in 5 years from now, when we want to do that, whatever, then we're gonna have to do this over again anyway.
Potentially, yeah. I think if we go through the delineation process and trails are outside of wherever we delineate the wetland, probably another conversation with the DNR, say, hey, we're not, because the wetlands change and move, so they may require you to do that again, but I think for maintenance activities, that's a good question for the DNR. Say, hey, establish these trails are outside the wetland boundaries, all we want to do is maintain them. What other hoops do we need?
Well, and really, at this point, we've already done that. That's all we're asking to do at this point. You know what I mean? Rather than having to do a whole nother wetland delineation, all we're really asking to do at this point is maintain what exists.
Other than
Adding
crushed
the
granite to the mowed section. That's technically.
That last boardwalk that was done by Jeff a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Over there.
Well, some years ago, they allowed us to drill holes, drop cookies, and set posts on them, and that was just fine. The second set of boardwalks we did, they said, oh, no. You can't put that, that's fill. The cookie's 4 feet deep is fill. How come it was okay when we first did this, and now it's not? You know what I mean? There's just a million questions. Sometimes I'm just gonna say this and go out on a limb here, sometimes I think it's asking for forgiveness is way easier than the hoops we're jumping through, because we don't even know if we have permission or don't have permission, or we can or we can't, or we're gonna get it or we're not gonna get it, nobody knows anything. All right, we're going on that?
Yep.
Thank you, John.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, cemetery update. Discuss lower cemetery fence at County Road 38, County Road 19. Mr. Holm.
Well, our cemetery superintendent out there called me up one night. Wanted to say that it was good that we got the arborvitae moved out of that corner and still trim some trees or whatever, but he said he thought we should go a step further and look at getting a fence that's lower than that. especially along 19, because in a car, it's a visual issue. You really gotta get your nose out. See, I brought the arborvitae up and then branches up with my semi, but I can see car, you really gotta creep out to look down around that fence. And Lester said, really, the fence is mostly to keep the snowmobiles out of trouble, keep them out of there. But when the county redid 19, they pointed out to us that we have the horizontal pipe at the top, which is pretty dangerous.
So,
The guardrails there.
I just got a question for you,
Yeah.
because I live over there. I totally agree with you. It's a dangerous intersection. People have been killed there. Unfortunately, is it just, since there's a guardrail down there, should we just remove the fence and then whatever the guardrail ends, just tap it right there? I don't know if the guardrail goes all, I don't think it goes all the way down where the fence is, but maybe 3/4 or half of the way.
It goes quite a ways, but stops.
Just move it, just get rid of it and just cap it off, have the maintenance guys, and then that would be the end of it.
Get rid of the whole fence.
On that one side towards the county road, since there's a guardrail there already.
Two county roads on.
19, you're talking about 19.
On 19, yes, sorry, yes, 19.
Cause you got the guardrail there anyway,
Yes.
so I mean.
Yeah, I would just
If you took it out, you still got the guardrail.
yeah.
It would be nice to have something.
Discuss, approve. No, discuss, I'm sorry.
Well, we could approve taking that section down for the time being. Something that's lower profile and visually appealing. I mean, there's nothing. The fence that's there now is just utilitarian. But it is definitely and then you creep out when you're going west to look to the south, and then somebody coming on 19 north taking a left, and they get pissy at you because you're out, tight on you and give you that stink eye. And
That whole intersection should be a four-way stop.
the county, no, we talked about that when we did
We
19
spent money on the
project.
blinking stoplights. We had to buy the lights.
Then our problem there, you go a little step further, when there's prom, they park all the way by the pines there on 19, so you can't even
So,
see.
Young Park apparently is
Great
the
backdrop.
prom photo
Public,
destination.
you pull up the stop sign, you
Our
can't
parking lot
see.
was jammed full, they were parked all over the corner.
Okay, what are the wishes of the council?
I'll make a motion to remove as much as the fence as needed down there. That's the whole thing,
Yeah, starting at the
intersection.
but leave the last, like, overlap of 10 feet.
Yeah.
Or section or two.
From the guardrail.
From the guardrail on 19. And then, probably,
Let's send our maintenance guys out there to take a look at that and give us some ideas of how much fence is gonna be removed. And what it's gonna look like when it's all said and done, because it's hard for me to sit here and visualize.
Can they take
I'll have them take pictures.
pictures and bring it back to us?
He wants to see the actual.
I actually wanna see the picture. So.
You wanna see his drawing?
Nothing against your artistry, I just, wanna.
Okay, I'll have them do that.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
okay. There's that driveway gate here, there's a little shift in the fence there.
We have dimension lines and that kind of.
Yeah, and now here's the guardrail, and it just goes a little around the corner. So
Joe,
I'm
can you
saying
put the
take out from
camera on
here
his?
To here,
Yeah.
alright, I can go on Beacon and get you an exact footage here if you like.
Jeff, will you show that to the camera so it's there for the public? There we go.
So I think it would be strange to remove that chunk of fence. I understand why we would wanna do that, but to remove only that hunk of fence, without wanting to either put something back, you know what I mean?
Okay, so my thought was, you remove it now to improve the safety and the visual issue there. And then in the interim, since we have the guardrail there, we have some time that we can decide what would be an appropriate fence in the future.
Technically, you have not rescinded your motion, so. There's a second for removing.
What was this
it.
motion?
To remove as much fence as necessary.
I'll second that motion.
Take a friendly, if we take pictures? So they know.
All you need to know right here.
Okay. I know because I live there, but I know you guys
We've got
don't.
another engineer in our midst. All right, any further discussion? Any further discussion? All of those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, all right, table items, discuss, approve, disapprove First Amendment to the agreement of the building official services. Have we gotten anywhere with that, Mr.?
Never heard anything back from him. This is what I understood that he and his attorney had agreed to.
Wishes of council.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. Okay, new business, discuss cleanup day, Mr. Rush.
Yeah, so let's give an update here real quick. We might have to, I don't know, I'm talking to our county commissioner about getting more funds. We got $8,900, what we got from the county, from the SCORE grant. But 2023, we lost $7,054. Last year, it looks like about $2,000. This year, if I'm doing the math, we're gonna lose a couple more thousand. So every year we're losing money. I'm talking about maybe, shorten the hours from instead of 8 to noon, 8 to 11. But also maybe look at, tires and appliances, what we want to do there. But, on the numbers here that Joan has up here, we have to submit this to the county. I'm waiting for Brad to get back with me on the, here, I got it right here if you want to take a look. So, this year where we're putting what Jim's reported under the total, collected at the gate was $6,473.90. We only took in, was it 748? 43, I'm sorry, 43.74. So some tires weren't counted and stuff. I mean, it's hectic. You have the hockey association back there, counting this. So there's a number there, but we're gonna just put what Jim's had on the collective.
So we're saying the difference is 17,800 minus 6,400. 17,800 minus 4,000. 17,825 is the total invoice, that's.
Yeah, the total $6,473.90 is what Jim's reported. For everything, we got, change 40, like 4,375.
Okay.
That too, part of the problem with rims.
Yeah.
We had quite a few rims where we don't, tire size, I don't think anybody goes.
My observation is a lot of rims got through and got charged for unrimmed.
Yeah, because people were complaining.
That's where we get hit.
Yep.
And
I think next year we have to put it in bold, will not be accepted. Yes, because people were pretty, taking your head off, because, and then there's tires that weren't counted. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, so she has to submit this, to the county, and I'm asking for additional SCORE grant money from, Brad, because Big Lake Township was awarded it, last time, and we've been asking the past few years, so.
So looking at this sheet here, this is telling me what? This is telling me that the total invoiced amount, 17,825, came from.
All these amounts here from 2220 all the way down to 4595.
Correct, this is what
That
Jim's
is
invoiced.
That's
Yeah.
Jim's.
So that's in, but now this is saying that we took 6473 from the gate, but we didn't, we actually took 4304.
You have to do revenue what Jim's stated as
You have the physical invoice.
Right, of 17,825. So 17,825, you can forget the 6473, because that doesn't seem to be a number that fits. Minus 4304 is the difference.
Yeah.
So we're looking at $13,000 basically, roughly, that's our.
Big chunk coming from the car tires.
Yeah.
You gotta subtract 8,900.
Huh?
Yeah.
What?
What'd you say?
You gotta subtract, so this, I mean, we're gonna get
I'm just talking about the tire line item.
Yeah, the tires are a big expense.
Collected $555.
Yeah.
So then it's not 17,825 minus 4,300. It's 17,825 minus 12,000, actually 13,000. So we're 4,000 shy.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Score ramp. But I just want to bring this up to your attention for next year. If you
No,
want,
and
if you want to look at a new vendor, that's something we can do. But I mean, they've been doing it for years. But we got tires in here. We got a bunch of, like the rims were mentioned. There's this stuff there that I think we got to spell out clear if we're going to take them free.
Well, and we always say 4 tires and 1 appliance, and that's part of what we're doing. So to expect this to be 0, I don't know that we're ever gonna get to 0.
And-
If we can get more money from the county, from the SCORE grant, I should
Correct.
say, absolutely, we'll take every penny.
That's what I'm trying to do.
You know what I mean? But the rest of this, I mean, what Marks does, I drove by for a week after Livonia had their deal, and they had mattresses there the following piles, huge piles of mattresses there the following Thursday that somebody still had to come and get, clean up dumpsters and all kinds of stuff. Wow, you guys, when we leave here at 12:20 or 12:30 whatnot, our parking lot is cleared out there. Doesn't even look like this ever happened except for having to sweep.
I don't have a problem with the vendor. I think Jim's does a nice job. I just think we need to go over the form and take a closer look and just say, the free stuff I'm all fine with. There was a ton of people that brought in tires with rims and we get charged way more for those than just a regular tire. And that is where we have to at least take a look at it.
I have a suggestion that next year we have maybe some staff. I didn't see anybody from Jim's.
It was the hockey association.
We counted them as they came in.
Well, we put on there.
Ours did not match what they.
What happened is one of the parents or the kids were counting the tires. And then, I don't know. If
Nothing to say about our school system, but I'm a little concerned.
So, just wanted to bring that up.
Either way, to run a $4,000 deficit in our cleanup day, I think is even. Because rather than picking this garbage up in the ditch, rather than knowing that it's still laying on somebody's property, whatever, they're thinking about throwing it in the ditch, whatever. Or they come here and then get mad and then we find it in the ditch when we say no. Boy, I think this.
I just report, you decide on fair and balance.
Alrighty, discuss, approve, disapprove equipment rental quote for culvert work at Southern Pines. Be Mr. Rush, yes.
Yeah, so this was, our engineer looked at this and, our maintenance guys will do this. They're looking up to $2,000 with the backhoe, and then there's gonna be straw blankets and seed put on there. So this is the area right there. It's up to 2,000. I don't have the
What are the wishes of the council?
That's what it's gonna come in at. I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Yep.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Letter C, discuss, city council meeting night on Mondays. Clerk?
Talked to Andy, our building official, and he does not have a problem with Monday night meetings. Sam, our new engineer, does not have a problem, but if we ever want Shane Nelson to come to a Monday meeting, he's at Credit River. I'm gonna speak for staff here. It's hard when we have a late Monday night meeting, you're tired all week. There's a lot going on at the city hall at the beginning of the week where it's a little bit more quieter on Wednesday, Thursday. And then I'll let you go ahead and, speak for what Dan told you, and then you can address.
What did Dan tell me? I don't remember what Dan told me. I think just that well, his email that was sent back, whatever, kind of was, let staff drive the meeting night. But if it is, I think Thursdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays are when he had available.
Planning commission, right?
Planning commission meetings.
Parks are Thursday.
Parks are Thursdays.
Parks, because it's once a month, and, Monday or Tuesday.
And then, Mr.
I'm available any night of the week.
For 2026.
Yeah, I mean, I can ask the park committee, we have meet on June 26th because of the holiday on the 19th. The meeting was pushed the following week, so I can ask them if any other night works besides. What nights would it be? Monday and, because we.
So question, are you suggesting a day then? Thursday? That's fine.
But this, if there's a holiday or something like people, like Southwest Commercial want to get away,
There's a lot of holidays.
My suggestion would be, I don't know if Wednesday is a problem, Joan, but less chance of having to change the meeting nights because there's a lot of Monday holidays. And then Thursday's a Thanksgiving issue where you'd have to change that, but not a lot of holidays that are scheduled there's not a lot of Wednesday holidays, let's put it that way. And Wednesdays also, it would just be a date, like July 4th can be on Wednesday, everybody's off, and nothing we can do about that, but that's just a suggestion if you were gonna change the night. We have a lot of Monday meetings that we have to change. We changed this meeting in the mistakenly believing that we were falling into Memorial. Because last week was not Memorial Day, but when we did these meetings, we changed it, set this one because we thought it was Memorial Weekend. So it's one of those thoughts going into 26th to think about, but.
Tell you, I would be less apt.
What about Wednesday?
Wednesdays would be better. Middle of the week, I'm more apt to be around. Going for a long weekend, Thursday's usually the day you leave, so.
Ask the planning commission and to switch nights?
We'd have to, well, they usually meet on opposite weeks of us. So chances are it doesn't necessarily.
They could still have their Wednesday planning commission,
Yes.
just on the 2nd and 4th.
Third, it would be the third and fourth weekend is what
Yeah, just change it to 2nd and 4th, and that would.
I'm open
and
Wednesday,
the
Friday.
fourth week actually, is the official planning commission meeting.
Right.
All right, something to think about. All right, the seed is planted. All right,
On to
discuss,
the next
approve,
question.
disapprove Cal Schmuck collecting seeds in the city property. Cal had asked, is at planning commission, he's one of our planning commissioners as well. And he had asked at that meeting if it would be possible if he could take some of his students and go out looking at the seeds and maybe collecting some seeds on the property. 45 and 9.
It used to be Prairie Restoration, so property, so yeah. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Letter E, we'd like to table this until the 23rd.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. discuss increased traffic on 136 due to the Highway 169 construction. Mr. Holm.
Okay, so this came up, what was it, last week, John? We received emails after the holiday weekend. And, it's quite interesting. I suppose some people are trying, when the traffic on Sunday southbound, have weekend warriors heading south. One thing that's been observed is, they're goofing up and they're getting off. They're going to Baptist Road and then they're coming right up the gut and go over 95 and then all of a sudden the GPS says, take 136th Street. And so, at the time when this was, brought up, and it's gonna happen again this summer. Last weekend wasn't busy because of graduation parties. Low numbers in early June. Summer's very short because of graduation season. But anyways, I would like a city official or somebody to get in touch with whoever the project manager of that 169 project and let them know that their whole scheme there isn't working out. I really think that maybe we need to have a close that section 136 to through traffic. Local traffic only with some signs. I don't know if we can or not when we don't really necessarily have a project, but.
Road, statutory road authority.
Yeah, but you know, yeah, obviously if someone goes around it, they go around it, but it would deter. You maybe help slow down, because I mean, we don't need that volume. Remember when we were doing County Road 1 and Sherburne County asked if they could use 136 for our road shouldn't be a part of 169.
So are you
So-
telling us that you wanna talk to the state?
That's what I was gonna make a motion, Mr. Mayor. I was gonna make a motion, Mr. Holm, to talk to
I'm not the
him.
road guy, I'm not the mayor, I'm nothing here.
Oh.
Nobody.
But hey, I like delegating.
No, I'm not even the second road guy.
If somebody was to go and talk to him and just, because I know where you're talking about it by John Deere, that isn't marked very good
Don't
at
bail
all.
them
And
out,
people
man.
stay in the right-hand lane, and then before you know it, it's too late. You can't get back over where you're supposed to be, so you gotta go down that ramp and you're stuck.
They're like lemmings, they follow the leader and 8 of them go off at
Yeah.
once. You know they all don't need to do the 95, that's to get to 95, getting
Yeah, I
off.
watched, there were 6, 7 of them just followed each other, and it was too late.
So Princeton Township is feeling this pain, and we're feeling this pain. But I just thought, well, maybe our solution is we do a temporary closure of our road only to local traffic with the big old signs and a gap for them to shoot through. Our attorney said we're a road authority, we can do what we please.
So, how does that work if we said local traffic only?
That means that if you have a house or a business on the road, if you get pulled over by a sheriff's deputy or barricade, and you don't have a license that indicates that you own a house on that street, then you may be getting a ticket for violating that barricade.
I make a motion.
No, I made a,
You made a motion, I didn't hear it.
I made a motion for you, for Mr. Holm to call this.
Contact the state, yeah.
Oh, I'm talking about the road and the.
Guess what? I seconded that motion, cause I just did. And I think it's a good idea. My whole fear, and we'll get to this motion, we're in discussion now. Cause my fear is that the local folks that have nothing to do with trying to get around any traffic troubles, whatnot, are gonna be on 136 and possibly get tagged. To me, that would be devastating. You know what I mean? That just wouldn't be right. Could be you, could be me, could be Tom.
Well, you said I'm part of the road authority, I'm out there doing an inspection.
Yeah, right, see?
They're heading in from Princeton and they're going down to County 42 is where their house is. Is that kind of what you're saying? And then they.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean?
Way they're coming down and they
Here's
get.
the other thing too, is anytime there's any traffic, John, you tested this too. As soon as a road is closed, you got everybody feeling out everything around that to try and get around that project. Now we're here out in the country, I'd like to say we're out in the country, now we're gonna shut down the road because people are actually going out there wanting to drive on it to miss.
City slickers.
I'm all for you talking to the state and seeing if there's anything they can do to help us.
I tell you, that's just gonna be a wasted phone call probably.
I think, these folks, the one time they go down 136, they won't try that road again because it's.
And the pictures that we sent, right? The pictures that were sent of all of this, that was also Memorial Weekend.
4th of July.
Yes, and I'm saying that you didn't hear about it this weekend because it's not a great weekend for up north. The traffic was much lower.
I mean, check me if I'm wrong, but, I mean, I don't think that there's a whole lot. Yes, we have the ability to do that, but do we want to try and block off our own roads to our own people, especially to our own people? You know what I mean? Because there's traffic going on.
That road is dangerous with its condition.
But it is whether or not the road project is happening.
Maybe we should mill up the blacktop then and just have it be.
Turn it back to dirt.
Be dirt until we get that project going. We could do that.
All right, so the motion and the second on the table is for Mr. Holm to call the state and talk to that project manager and bring us a report. Let's find out what's going on.
I have the guy's name and number.
I'm sure we can find it. Guarantee it. Absolutely guarantee it. John, he's on it already. He's gonna have it by the end of the meeting. All right, any more discussion on that motion? I'm serious. You should call him and talk to him.
You're more smoother
Further
than that.
discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign? Motion carries.
Voted each other.
There it is. Okay, so schedule a workshop with the engineers on the roads, Mr. Rush. Another one? What's going on?
No, I was just, I talked to the engineer, but I would probably we have our budget meeting on the 16th, next Monday. So I was talking to Hawkins and Anderson. I would like to schedule something prior to that meeting internally to discuss for the budget because we got roads here, road projects we're doing in engineering. And for that budget, I think we need to increase for the levy or the amount for our roads.
Okay, what is that? So
I want to discuss what we're gonna do because we can there's options out there for our roads, because up to $200,000 what we're going out here for that polyfiber crack sealing, that's not even gonna dent anything. So I just want to discuss what are the plans? Are we gonna assess residents? Are we going to, when we go out to bond for 100th and 297th, go for additional monies there, increase the levy? And then what road projects we want to go for. And I think that'd just be beneficial to discuss what we're gonna do before we have those budget numbers.
You may want to consider having a workshop. We have talked about this internally. Shane and Mike and I have talked about this because one, the 100th and 297th project, getting the easements that project also has, there may be other projects that you may wish to do in place of that project. These are things that we probably should talk to Shane about. He had a list. And also, it goes back to how you see financing it. Are you going to assess? Are you going to use your levy? All of these things. This one may be, before you get too into your, yes, you could have your budget meeting next week, but before I don't know that you're gonna get something scheduled this week in order to have all of this information for roads.
No, and I did talk to Shane. He said this will be more like at the, September timeframe. But I just want to get the consensus of city council because our roads are in bad shape. Even our engineer says when he went out and drove around. And I just want to I'm just saying $200,000 to do preventative maintenance it's not even gonna crack the surface. I wanna try to save the roads that we got, that Ally did with the PCI rating that they did on all of our roads. The other ones, we have developments probably not gonna make it in another 2 or 3 years, I'm just being honest with you. And that's how bad it is. So I just want some serious discussion. When we go budget, are we gonna increase the levy? How much are we gonna put for road and bridge? Are we gonna go bond for the additional, to be aggressive, they get caught up on the seal coat? I'm not saying Baldwin's gonna have yellow brick roads overnight, but I'm just saying we should have that discussion before we budgeted this meeting. And then Shane said this would be like in August, but I just want a workshop, if we can meet internally before the meeting, before we set that budget.
You're talking about you're talking about a workshop of the city council to discuss this issue before you have your budget meeting?
Correct, yes.
Then that would be probably, given the open meeting law requirements, it'd be easier to recess this meeting to a time, date, place certain, to whenever you decide you're going to have that meeting this week, if you're going to do it.
Or if you want to set the budget, that's fine, but I just wanted to bring that up.
Recessing of this meeting, I don't think that would be a wise idea. To me, that's a slippery slope. I know we have done it once in the 17 years I've been around. But I think that part of the discussion, whether we bond, whether we do these kind of things, whatnot, is what discussion we should have at that budget meeting. And I think we're gonna need more than one budget meeting. We're gonna need a couple of budget meetings. And so we can continue with the budget because we know what the fire is gonna be, we think we know what that is gonna be. We know what the increases of the rest of the things are gonna be. We can speak, if Shane can put something for us to look at the projects, we have quite a list with some dollar amounts. You know what I mean, of what those projects would be. We can have that discussion at the budget meeting in Road and Bridge. But if we want to take and schedule another budget meeting that would include Shane and probably Bob, you know what I mean, for Road and Bridge is Road and Bridge only. I think that's the cleaner way to do this, because at least we can all set and prepare rather than scramble, trying to get everybody together, whatnot, to, you know.
Well, yeah, and I understood, I just wanted internally discussions with the city council.
I don't think it's a bad idea, but it's on here, a schedule a workshop with the engineer. Do you have dates that he's available?
Oh.
The other part of that is I'm not available between now and, next Monday or whatnot.
Well, I can ask him, I was just wanted to do it with the city council first, because, like I said, we need to increase the road and bridge, I think that.
And I don't disagree with you, and I definitely believe that that is a great discussion to have at our budget meeting next Monday.
I'll try to get what I can from Shane. He says it's kind of
No, that's fine.
hell's bells right now, you know, with stuff going on.
Absolutely.
You're not looking at having a meeting with Shane Nelson. What you're talking about is maybe getting some additional information before Monday's budget meeting on various potential estimates on various road projects.
Yeah, that and then preventative maintenance. Because like I said, $200,000.
You can discuss that with him.
Yes.
Probably tomorrow, maybe you can, maybe you can't. We have plenty others to discuss at that meeting, other
Yeah.
that I don't think we should put that meeting off in any way, shape, or hold it up, because
Okay.
We're gonna have more than one budget meeting.
Absolutely.
So that, I think we get all our initial amounts and then whatever we need to adjust by the next meeting and.
nothing else, it's gonna help us determine all the questions that we have.
Okay.
So, you want to table this, or do you wanna call this discussion on this schedule?
This discussion.
Discuss, approve, disapprove contract for Sandy Lake project with an expenditure of $82,138.
Yeah, so we finally got an update on this one from Soil Water Conservation with Bogart Peterson being the engineering. We're still waiting for Lake Diane. They're finalizing that one, but Sandy Lake one is a little bit more. We have you know, a lot of the washing out of the beach there. We've had some residents come in and speak on this too, this project. So they have a meeting Thursday, is it? Soil Water Conservation, so need this to go forward. Going out for bid on this. Did I miss anything, John? Yeah.
No.
Bo-
Already signed it.
Yeah, Bogart Peterson. I think Lake Diane is around 40,000 is what they're looking at right now, but there wasn't a drainage plan on that one. We asked for update on.
The wishes of the council.
I will, for me, I mean, this has been long overdue. I think we started this last year, so I would make a motion to go out for bid.
Talking about getting
Quotes, sorry, yeah.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Any further discussion?
Give us an idea of what this is all gonna entail. So we know what's.
Well, it's gonna solve the drainage, prevent the washing out the beach. I don't have the sketch in front of me, but, Joan, do you have it?
We certainly can get it to you.
Yeah, can send it over to you.
Look at it. This has been a collaborative project, actually, that the county, Soil and Water, actually, this was a grant, if you will, from them, but they're doing the engineering, Tom?
Yes, yeah,
We're doing the construction, correct?
yeah.
So this has been ongoing for 2 years now? So, and then because of the change of engineers and the things that have happened, it never really got put on hold, but now it's getting restirred. And basically, this is just trying to build a rain garden, drainage, those kind of things, whatever, from the road runoff into Sandy Lake to try and cover as much of it as possible, or trap much of it as possible.
So would that involve taking off the cattails and stuff too, so that?
The cattails by the beach was, we did get a contractor to do that, and the DNR approved it. So that they're removing all that section, I can't remember the exact, I think it's 36 by 60 something. But that, we approved that, I think it was 2 meetings ago.
And that's gonna happen regardless of this, correct?
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Schedule it all, or?
Zach was following up with the contractor. It was a DNR local contractor that they recommended, and it was approved by them. They've done many of these. If you want to talk to Zach, we can send you the cartoon of the.
Get a hold of me and I'll see what I can find.
Yep.
Alrighty, motion and a second to approve this quote. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Alrighty. Discuss, approve, disapprove 1-day on-sale liquor license application for the Northeast Sherburne Fire and Rescue.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Letter J, discuss, approve, disapprove 1-day liquor sales application for the Great Lakes Association of Musicians and Artists for an event on September 6th.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying
Aye.
aye. Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. 1-day liquor, sale liquor license application for Christ Our Light Parish for an event on September 21st. Boy, gambling and a liquor license, that's one. All right, motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Okay, before we get past that into L, Bob, I'd like to ask you a question. 1-day liquor licenses, things like this, whatever. Can we lump them together on the consent agenda?
Yes.
Would we like to lump 1-day liquor licenses on the consent agenda?
Yes.
Moving forward. Okay. I want a motion to lump them into the.
Motion in the future, we lump them.
I'll second it.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Joan originally, had them in the consent, and I says, because they are our first ones, I would like to take them out and do them.
There is no law that I'm aware of that limits you on what you put on consent. List as many things as you feel comfortable on your consent agenda, and if any member of the council wishes to pull them off for discussion, they always have the right to do
So I could have had 3 pages of consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, there are some cities that do.
Just asking.
Yeah, I've seen Princeton where they've got 20-some items in the consent agenda and they talk about 3 in there.
Yeah,
That is a law.
I guess I did know that. Letter L, approve, disapprove soil borings on 305th.
So yeah, at the last meeting, Mr. Mayor, this was, the last mile of 305th here, the south end. So they're gonna do 10 soil borings and 10 core samples for a total of 10,220.
So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. Now, letter M, update, crack sealing addendums. Mr.
Yeah, so there is a second revision to the crack sealing. The miles were incorrect on there. It went from 1.5 miles, it's actually 14. So they put an addendum at 5 o'clock today. And they're supposed to open up the bids at 3 PM yesterday, or tomorrow. So, that has been updated, it's out there, so these bids will be coming in. I told, Shane and them to extend it till Thursday, to give the vendors a few extra days.
Fair to me.
So I just
So
give
we're
them an
looking
update.
at June 23rd.
Yeah, they'll be ready on June 23rd, but just give the vendors a little more time.
All righty, that is an update on that. Announcements, budget meeting is Monday, June 16th. Employee reviews is Tuesday, June 17th. Special planning commission meeting is Wednesday, June 18th. City Hall and my birthday is closed on June 19th, Juneteenth, observation of Juneteenth. Next city council meeting is Monday, June 23rd at 7 PM. Is there any other business? All right, that will-
And we all were at church.
Yep, we did go to the church, welcomed in, and took place in the blessing of the new building. That will conclude the business of the evening, other than a motion to approve bills for payment.
I have a couple of things. I gave everybody a printout. These are the expenditures. For the budget meeting, these are the expenditures. And then I have one more thing. Bob, if you wanna kinda update on amending the, ordinance on Sunday liquor, if you wanna give the city council an update, please.
I spoke with Joan. There are several liquor license renewals that
Oh, thank you.
have requested Sunday liquor. Because at the time you adopted your liquor ordinance, you did not allow Sunday liquor because your residents have not voted to allow for that, which is a prerequisite under state law. Now that the election is held and the residents have affirmatively voted to allow Sunday liquor, I'd like your permission to amend your liquor ordinance to allow for Sunday liquor. Also, suggest that sell for Sunday liquor. What I would suggest is whatever fee the county is charged for that, so we keep it consistent for this. And then
I've been
the
trying
other
to stay out of that whole mess.
Is,
Let's see.
I don't remember the dates, but did you want to change your liquor license renewal dates to be consistent with other communities in the area, or do you want to leave it as you have it?
2 million, how much is
Well, I think the ones that are due in August, correct?
City council.
Right, and so for the sake of them, and not realizing any difference, and they are only ones, would it be a big deal for us to conform to that?
Okay, so we're gonna do an X-ray survey.
I guess
We need.
So they need in August, we're talking, I think June was one that we talked
So
about,
the
or
understand the
calendar
relief-
year, December.
relief is no longer
I think I would do, if you were going to change your dates, I
Doesn't
would,
cover our
you
pension
would
at all.
work with the state to see if you could extend the liquor license to conform to the new date, so if somebody
It's the Relief Association, that is. It's not, it's
General fund and there's a general
it's not,
fund and
it's not in
special
it,
fund.
It's- we're in PRA now. We separated.
as it is. It's just a liquor, we don't have to be the same as every other community.
So the motion would be to authorize you
It's
to
one-
amend the ordinance
One account.
to allow Sunday liquor sales.
Sunday liquor sales with the fee for Sunday liquor sales to be consistent.
I believe they got it through the
with
city,
county
through the,
charging,
commission.
And to explore with the state of Minnesota
I think that's what they did.
amending the dates.
I think that's what they did.
And then bring a draft back to the,
Yep.
June 23rd.
Yep.
Good. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
The expiration date on our ordinance also says December 31st. So that needs to be modified.
That's what I'm.
Part of what he would.
That's part of the motion, is to explore that change with the state to make sure that if we do change those dates, we are not gonna be inconsistent. I don't wanna do anything that would harm the people who currently have licenses. And what I would like to do is see if we somehow, if we're changing the dates, it would be in their favor that we would extend. And then, with that, I'll report back to.
I'll go gravel.
Consideration.
I will make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Anything else, Joan? What?
Yeah, I know.
Concern for your age, Alderman. There's a age.
We found you with contact. We found you with a contact.
Oh,
Rob.
well, I'm driving around.
He's the former
Well, they
state.
have a communications person and the construction manager. Rob.
He was the deputy director of public safety for a while.
They have a communications person.
Was the Elk River Fire Chief.
Call them and tell them I'm Councilman Jeff Holmes.
Because I think
Here's what I want
the
done.
most is.
Good luck with it, John.
Here's a revenue.
Now,
The one I gave you.
We'll see you guys later. See ya. You too. See you, Jeff. Okay.
Thank you for calling us.
I'd like to, I'm gonna ask him.
Is it just
Code to.
holiday traffic and backups or? is it-
Sundays,
Okay, all right.
southbound.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Because they're not allowed
there's
to
problems
work,
with that.
Well, here's what happened tonight.
Yeah, they're not, but
But it's just.
the
people
trouble
talk about
is,
the routes.
they
the
do have
trouble,
unofficial
Oh,
details.
yeah, absolutely.
Unofficial
Yeah.
details.
the
So
trouble
not that they
is,
don't know it happened.
30 to 6:45.
Yeah,
And I understand.
to stay on
There's a problem.
169,
Yeah, vandalism.
you gotta go and cross over to
That's the
the
problem,
northbound
yeah.
side.
So we had cars tear up the thing, so.
Straight, and they end up
We
getting
get
forced
the pull
off
to the
at
shed.
that exit by the John Deere dealership.
That's what we do.
And then once they
That
go
field,
there,
we don't give the code,
kick back on.
because that's a separate field. And during the day, if you want to drag, our maintenance guys are more than happy to accommodate that. I've got multiple questions.
Clearly marked that.
I'll ask Zach when he's mowing to let me know.
And that's the one
Yeah,
thing
he
that
was
they.
just all I'm
Yeah, I
saying.
know.
Jeremy Olson texted
Just
me,
don't,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
last night at
They got
9:10.
tea for me?
He wanted to.
Code.
Thank you for reminding me.
Well, I didn't.
That's why, because.
I did it a week ago, or a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago, when Zach was mowing.
Everything now.
I happened to be walking the dog, and I said, "Geez, you're gonna mow. You're mowing, so I'm gonna go home and get my four-wheeler." So I dragged it while he was mowing, then I left, and then he closed the gate.
No, I did make
But,
10 copies.
I didn't wanna be bothered.
But I think
Just
it's,
for my own
I think
personal
it's.
use.
No, if he's out there, he knows, because.
And then I'll just ask him to text me.
Yes, and I know you texted him before, and if you guys, they have no problem meeting you out there, because we got summer help now, but that's the reason.
so whatever between
But
helps
it
you.
it pissed off my son.
Local government aid?
Yeah.
We're still working on that.
No, here's what Brian
He's
says to
wheeling
me.
the four-wheeler, his
22,000
little four-wheeler
per year.
through the opening.
Yep.
And he had already went it, walked over, got the, so he's hooking it up to the four-wheeler.
How does he know that number?
I don't know.
I'm just curious.
Well,
And that's-
7-year-olds,
I thought they were
and he had
trying to
7-year-olds
figure out
running around.
the previous year number to start us with,
We had that, but they didn't have the previous year's number.
They were over there kinda doing this, you know, and then suddenly I was gonna go over and say something, no. I'll just do it.
Unless these guys wanna do it, but that's the main reason why we,
Nope, then I'll just work it with Zach.
because one time we did that, and they didn't lock the gate.
Yep.
And next, I'm not making this up, the next morning, the field was all torn
I
up.
understand it.
You remember that? Yes, and that, unfortunately, that's the thing is, that small shed is pretty much all PYSBA stuff in there, pretty much.
Well,
Except for the well, and there's issues where they're throwing the mound in there. And if it breaks the pump, they're gonna be responsible.
Well, that's just what I was gonna say.
That's
To be
another
honest, it's
issue.
time for a shed just for
Not even that bill to be.
baseball stuff. Because what's gonna happen is that big new mound is gonna
They had a
fall
meeting with us.
and break something, then they're gonna, Zach's gonna come to you and say, I need 20,000 to fix this well.
Correct.
And you can go out and buy a bigger shed just for the baseball stuff, for a whole lot cheaper.
Yeah, well,
And so,
They can go in the locked room in the lavatories of the new bathroom.
well, I just feel, you know, cause then, 2 weeks ago, when we went to practice, we couldn't get in because what had happened was they kinda jimmy rigged the mound, and then it fell onto the
I haven't heard anything more from.
door.
yeah.
And so we kept pushing, and, you know, then we finally did get it moved enough that we could get in. But,
It's,
I just wanted to let
They're
you know
gonna- he's
how they kinda
Heck around,
skirted the issue and brought this little 90cc
There he is.
there
yeah.
tonight.
And there's another gentleman,
And
what's
so,
his
the
name?
thing that I had said earlier on was, I
Brian.
asked Brian, I said, I need to
Brian's
know
on the
This
board,
was
he's
a-
dragged it
who
too.
are. I
This
will
was a
visit
Nick,
them.
and he
Individually.
was an older team.
And he hasn't given you that.
No, I don't, I know.
Well, that was so long ago, who's going through this
We were
process.
using the outfield.
But,
It's
I would, I've been effective in the past.
The guy that.
Saturday mornings, nobody likes to be bothered on Saturday morning.
Right. So evidently, the
And
guy
my son
that
said, yep,
created
okay,
the
no problem.
spreadsheet,
We went out there.
nobody knows how
And
much.
this one thing led to
It's
another.
still pie in the sky.
Yeah, cause those guys, because we also have a drag in the Brown building, but we
I heard
don't, we don't give the code to that either. So we're, well, them guys, Zach, cause I work from home and I'm in meetings, so I just
Stay in
can't.
the process.
You know, it was where I had to go up there and open the gate and do all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm not babysitting you guys, cause Zim wanted to use the field
So
as
that
well.
you guys allowed for that.
Them two were,
And
I'll just mention it to Zach. next
them
time I
guys,
see
that-
him.
and I
Just
told
say,
them,
next time they're mowing,
Rice Lake is up in
cause I was
Diamond
around,
Range.
this afternoon, I
They have
saw
a lot
rats
more.
there when they were mowing.
yeah,
You know, it was freshly cut when I got there.
correct.
It
They-
was great, but,
Representatives and senators.
I just didn't know they were mowing.
Them guys have no problem opening the gate and
Yep, it
and
was
shutting
wide
it
open.
up there.
And I didn't interrupt Zach at all, he was mowing,
Oh,
I
you
was
can
on the
interrupt
infield.
them.
Yep.
But Jeremy Olson
No,
texted
the
me at
question
9:10
is-
last night, and I said, give me a
Now
date and
that
time if
we
you want.
got handed a number, is that number
Field,
gonna haunt
and I'll
us
comment.
going forward, like we
And even the number we won.
That's unfortunate.
Sometimes you don't know, cause you
They
might pick a
start
time of the
declining.
day it's raining.
Have-
You know, so what you know, they're not gonna be able to mow them.
Actually, the number.
So
Yeah.
at least if they're out, so I'll just mention it to Zach.
That's the reason why.
Yep.
Unfortunate is vandalism out
And I
there.
won't bother. I
I see
won't
that.
bother the committee.
But if you come to a park meeting, love to have you.
So we have a meeting?
I can't find
Al comes.
Although I'm enjoying coaching, helping myself coach. That's
I didn't call you. I know I said you're off, but.
I'm looking forward to that situation. When I coach. My grandkids, because my kids told me you're not coming near my kids. After what I did to both of them, I said, okay, well, SOBs want to be that way, you're out of my will.
The biggest
Now they
thing-
changed their mind.
The biggest thing about 7-year-olds is just corral them.
So.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're a bundle of energy and they don't think. You know, like I got texted on tonight, somebody left their shoes.
Shoes up
Yeah,
there, yeah.
and I saw them, but I thought, you know, maybe they had one of the kids, because there were still kids running around. Did anybody see a pair of shoes? Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
They're on the
In other words, you
bench.
guys.
Now, are they still there? I don't know. We'll go find out.
She's sitting in the target. Yeah, just call Zach, yeah, and he'll, or Phil, they'll take
We're
care of it.
para, so when you were talking to me, I think that's, I understand where you're going, but,
But.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
And-
yeah,
They were only-
Want a message on the
Because
contract?
you had to approve.
Another
If they
one
come and say,
for,
we're
I'll get a
doing
call.
this on 18.
Yeah, they just shoot it over to Joan and then she can forward it to me.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
of course.
Okay.
They do something.
That's a good thing.
You too.
Yeah.
So then, okay.
Part of them, they lose
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
$500,000 because they lose.
Sir.
That's it.
Have a great night.
They can always
There's short
make
money.
changes.
Right?
Come to you.
Right,
Well,
I pushed real hard to go to Eric, and we were paying stupid money to the
Hundreds
accountant
of thousands.
But that's
to
why,
audit it.
that's why the chief is on there as an ex officio to watch over.
Yep,
And that,
yep,
Good,
I
okay.
pushed it, so we got it, and they gave me more money, they're very happy about it, so.
Oh, parasite. The worst part of that is that you can't retire after 5 years. You gotta have a 5-year wait. So, the worst, some of these guys, you know, we have to make that decision that, I'm not sure if I wanna go 5 more, so then they can retire before they go to repair.
Right.
But once they go to the state plan, then all the audits are free, all, I mean.
Yeah. It's been, I think, it's been.
Oh, it's the way to go. Every year, there's more and more that
Yep.
go to repair, state plan.
That becomes a bigger fund that will help long term.
I think we need.
Waiting for it to renew my police and fire.
yes, but it doesn't work for the
We need 5 more reams next year,
So
so.
he
Remember
was,
their
okay.
presentation.
And he is the one, I would, if I had to put money in Vegas.
Road projects and
money in
whatnot, that's
Vegas,
just a part of it.
Unless
Unless we get
He's
the huge.
been
amount.
real
These guys are trying to
good
go
about
faster.
making sure
If they're allowed to do
so,
that.
I'm just trying to stay out of it.
Which would be very little.
It was very minimal.
You would even
Any
notice.
money to these guys when they're used to it.
But they wanna do it.
I hope that
I've been involved in
Shane Nelson did?
and in permits.
I don't want to do
Them,
this,
I've had some.
but it's effective.
Sam did.
No, Shane was
We had 1 year at Anoka, it was.
I mean, people, but a person says,
And we had.
five
Good
minute
day,
window.
Well, and the tournament, almost, last year they didn't, but almost every year before they would shoot now. I don't want to deal with this stuff, you know?
Yeah, that would be one place
They get
where
out of security.
you just a
Just so you're not-
big light out.
Oh, no, well, and we knew this was going to be. You know what I mean? The problem is like for the MSA money.
Just,
We can only use that on certain roads.
just say, you'd be like Trump, and then just have, you know.
Yeah, so, and with no prayer going in, but it's just the idea that it's like,
You use some micro,
surfacing, you know, why is Virginia, you know, and then Minneapolis, St. Paul,
so people can see
absurd. I
it.
mean, most of anything that we've got where it
And
came
if you
out.
like the product, you don't get
That
that
counts.
And that will be one of the things that go in the future.
No, our argument to that person that did the spreadsheet and stuff, was that we have to start with a number. He kept arguing no, and I said, we showed him, you have to have a number. If you don't have a number, it doesn't work. And he finally admitted, you're right, you have to have a number. But then the question was, what's that number? And we argued it should be the same as the city of Princeton, which is exactly what the city of Rice Lake did. They went and looked at the neighbors and,
Up there,
but,
do this.
and that's where we were going with this. And then evidently Brian then came back and said, no, he was told that if he didn't, lower the number to what they agreed, they told him that they were not gonna give him a hearing on it.
I need a motion to approve bills for payment.
That's where things were left.
I'll make a motion.
So we're getting like $3 or $4.
You gotta get your money.
Sorry?
That's like $3 or $4.
I'm just telling you.
Check number 28612 to 28653 for $125,706.22.
So moved.
4 EFT payments for $4,576.44 for a total of $130,282.66.
I made a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Walker already seconded.
Oh, I didn't hear him. He's too far from his mic.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign.
Motion adjourned.
Is there a second?
Second.
Shook the hammer right out of my hand. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. We are adjourned at 9:16.
I was on the outside.
Awesome. Them things were great.